kidnapper.
Give it up, Mr. Wake. Come on. Make it easier.
Get after him. Don't let him get away. Move it, move it, move it. I'll have you shot if you let him get away. He's gone. Come on, guys. We need to head him off.
For decades, the darkness that wore Barbara Jagger's skin slept fitfully in the dark place that was its home and prison. It was hungry and in pain. It dreamed of its nights of glory when the poet's writing had called it from the depths and given it a breath.
Search the area. Gunshot. This way. Over here.
This horror was everywhere I went, circling me. The cops didn't stand a chance. They were after a writer, not a monster.
Wait, are you seriously telling me that geek writer just took out my deputies? Are you kidding? This guy, he wears a tweed jacket.
James, we got both Wheeler and Rose in custody. They didn't put up a fight or anything. But anyway, hey, what are you... Come on! Sit down and give me that. James, Mulligan here. Over. Go ahead, Mulligan. Over. We got Wheeler and Rose here. Wheeler's drunk or hopped up on something. Speaking of which, that Fed had a pretty distinctive whiff of Otis Scotch about him, you know what I mean. Over. I don't have anything on that, Deputy Mulligan. Over. Well, whatever. Anyway, Rose is just being plain weird here. You better get Doc in to take a look at both. Over. Gotcha. You better get them here quickly. The Fed's gonna want to interview Wheeler. Over. Oh, yeah, I'll bet it does. Looks like they have a lot in common. Mulligan out.
I could see the lights of the radio station in the distance. I imagined that the broadcast tower in the distance was part of the local radio station. Maine seemed like a decent guy. Perhaps he could give me directions to the coal mine. Unnatural shadows clung to the gate. The darkness that was after me was trying to stop me. I wouldn't get through without a light. There was no power to the searchlight. The old generator conked out. I'd have to see if I could fix it and try again. took me a moment to
So
recognize
Alan Wake
the
is a
flashbang grenades.
psychological
They were an
thriller,
ideal weapon for my situation.
we are on this journey into Alan Wake's mind. And if we think about psycho thrillers, you know, there is always that question on, is this true? Is this really happening? Or is this part of the madness? And if it's madness, is nothing true? But obviously we are on this journey together with Wake, and he becomes to believe in it. And so must we, because otherwise the things that we are fighting for are not really there.
And here's another call. You're on KBF-FM with Pat Maine.
It's Milt Peabody, Pat.
What's on your mind, Milt?
Well, I live near the trailer park, Pat, and there's a big ruckus going on over there.
Well, that's just up the road from me, too. What's going on, do you know?
I don't know, but there's a bunch of police cars there, lots of sirens, a helicopter buzzing around, and I think I heard some gunshots.
Gunshots?
Yes, sir, like from a pistol. So can you find out what's going on? Because it's just next door and they're popping off guns there.
They're still shooting?
No, it was maybe 10, 15 minutes ago. It sounds serious, Pat. I'm telling you, it don't sound like no party.
I'm certainly going to give the station a call, Milt.
Okay.
You'll hear it here as soon as I hear from them.
Okay, thanks.
I hope
The
Maine
big
could lend me
theme,
a car to get to the
obviously,
coal mine.
in this thriller is fiction coming true. And a lot of effort from our part writing this was to think about what does that mean and what are the limits. Obviously, if we would have given Alan Wake godlike powers to just change reality on a whim, there would not have been much stakes in this.
My granddaddy settled in Bright Falls in 1911. Well, thank you very much for that compassionate viewpoint, Lorna.
Touched by the dark presence, Rose was lost in a dreamland where everything was drawn in black and gray crayons.
Oh, here's a little surprise. The famous writer Alan Wake just walked in. Folks, I'm going to see if I can talk him into an interview.
Come on in, Mr. Wake. Oh, I'm so glad you could find the time to do this, Mr. Wake.
Nowhere to run now, Dan Brown. You back away from me. Don't hurt it.
Whoa. Everyone calm down. Put the gun down. We're all friends here, right?
Cool your jets, Nightingale. We got him.
Judas Priest!
What the hell's the matter with you? There's a civilian in there.
I'll get you yet, even if it kills me. You hear me? You hear me, H.P. Lovecraft?
I had fallen off so many cliffs it was ridiculous. That's what you get for naming a book The Sudden Stop. It was probably good I hadn't had the chance to tell Maine where I was going.
Changing
I'd
reality
have to lose the cops
with
and
his
find my own
writing
way to the mine.
has to be a struggle. It's hard for him. As writing a good story is hard for us. So there is this metaphor going on in this. And essentially what he can do is he can take existing elements and nudge them and tweak them. And in a similar way, I feel that story needs to feel true for it to be a good story.
Nightingale stared through the broken studio window into the dark woods. He turned around, started to walk out, but Maine grabbed his arm. "Young man, you almost shot me. You don't shoot off rounds at people like that. What's the matter with you?" Nightingale shook his arm free. Marsh. There was no sensible reason for the power company work lights to be here. It was almost as if they'd been left for someone like me to use.
Hello?
The most stubborn man I've ever met.
Alice? Alice?
Alan. Alan. I'm so afraid. Keeps me in the dark. Please help me. I look at you, Alan, and it's not you. Something else. Looking out from behind your eyes.
Alice, I'm here.
I'm so alone here. It's all gonna go to hell. You need to be careful. Cooperate.
The connection had been terrible, but that wasn't the only thing that hadn't been right with the call. She sounded wrong somehow, but she had called me. Sarah trusted her gut, and her gut said Agent Nightingale was an asshole. He felt wrong, and it wasn't just the smell of stale booze. It was in the way he flashed his badge, pulled rank, the look in his eyes when he wanted answers. Where was Alan Wake? The pipe wrenched itself loose from the bridge's steel framework. Wrapped in darkness, it floated in midair, twitching. For a moment, I didn't understand what I was looking at. The heavy object lurched at me with impossible force. I threw myself. See a railway bridge up ahead, and a warehouse of some sort on the opposite shore.
So in the game, through these in-game television inserts, we learn about Alan Wake's writing process, how he was trapped in the study of Berthollet cabin and how he wrote the manuscript. And we learn that he becomes aware of the Dark Presence's plan and how he starts to hide in keys for his success into the story. I mean, hiding his truth and his escape, his ultimate victory into the story. And there is an interesting metaphor there about writing process in general.
The darkness that was pursuing me was growing stronger, and it was taking over everything in its path. The darkness that was pursuing me was growing stronger, and it was taking over everything in its path. Teenager, just starting to get interested in writing, Stephen King had been a source of inspiration to me. I thought about all the inanimate objects that had come to life in his books. No one is safe in a good horror story, certainly not the protagonist. That's what makes them fun. This was anything but. The darkness could possess anything, and it was getting closer.
Alan Wake hiding keys for his escape and his success into the manuscript story is a metaphor of a writer who is writing story for entertainment with many needs coming in. We are hiding art into our stories, and this is kind of a nugget of wisdom from my drama teacher.
I slammed the door shut right in his smug face. He pleaded for me to open the door. True to... The darkness surged towards me, sucking everything loose from the ground into its depths, tugging at my clothes. I saw the flare the kidnapper had dropped and threw myself towards it just as I felt my feet leave the ground. The darkness embraced me with the force of a tornado. Somehow I managed to light the flare. The darkness roared and cast me away. I had never been this glad to see the sunrise. I had a couple of hours to get to the coal mine. The coal mine wasn't far now. Today, I would meet the kidnapper, and he would give me Alice. I wouldn't give him any other choice. A drowning
So
man
I've been
would
asked
clutch at a straw.
a few times, like, how much is Alan Wake, Sam Lake as a writer? And my answer is not really at all. But there is a certain kind of a truth to the idea that there are, of course, we always draw from our own experience. And I think that, surprisingly, a few of the Remedy games in some way are metaphors and commentaries on video game development.
Little by little, without realizing it, I'd come to believe that the story in the manuscript was coming true. The current of its narrative had taken me deeper and deeper into dark waters. Alice had been taken from me. Barry was probably in jail. I was a fugitive from the FBI. The whole world taken over by the dark presence was trying to destroy me. It all felt real, but it matched a textbook case of insanity.
This is Pat Main, and you're listening to KBF-FM. Folks, I want to apologize for kind of abandoning you to that looping music track last night, but I was detained. You see, I encountered a big-shot G-man with an itchy trigger finger who could use a lesson in manners and a boot in the ass. Not necessarily in that order, either. Now, folks, I know I'm not being very informative here, and I apologize for that. I really should just keep quiet, but I'm just so peeved right now, because some people just shouldn't be carrying badges. I'm just glad that our Sheriff Breaker was there to straighten things out. And if someone I met last night is listening, let me just say, I'm sorry if my mouth got you in trouble. I'm pretty sure you're not the bad guy here. Godspeed, son. I hope you know what you're doing. Now, on a lighter note, I'll be talking to Dr. Nelson all morning. But first, a little music. Welcome back to KBF FM. Hope you enjoyed that tune. Now, Doc, you were talking about life and finding that special someone, that soulmate.
Well, you were talking about that. I was saying I don't buy it.
Well, see, to me, that's strange, because I always pegged you as a hopeless romantic.
You got me there, Pat. But I think love's where you look for it. And you do a lot of looking, sure. But the idea that there's that one special person out there for you, and if you miss that chance, it's gone forever, and you're forever incomplete. I mean, isn't that depressing? Or, heck, childish even? There's plenty of fish in the sea.
And apparently a fisherman has a fishing analogy for everything, but what you're saying, isn't that a little harsh?
Well, no. What I am saying is that your potential for finding that connection isn't limited to what's essentially a chance encounter. How is that harsh?
Yeah, well, I guess that's a nice thought, but let me say something personal here.
Okay.
Now, well, I don't disagree with you exactly, but I can't really fit that together with what I feel, what I felt for someone, because she was the one, she was, and I let her drift away from me. Maybe I didn't put in the work, I don't know, but, well, since then, and it was a long time ago, but since then, there hasn't been anyone, not like her. And I'm not saying
stories in our games as a metaphor of making video games. I mean, obviously, in these past 25 years, a considerable amount of my life has gone into making video games and thinking about video games and struggling with the process of making video games. So it's not a surprise that these elements sneak in. Alan Wake in particular is a lot about the process of writing a story and struggling with writing a story. I mean, obviously we see glimpses of him struggling with it and thinking about it. So it's one of the reasons why this game is so close to my heart. Because as a writer and thinking about these things and then being able to use them as elements in the story felt exciting and felt interesting to me as a writer.
was early. I was supposed to meet the kidnapper at noon in the main building. The coal mine was quiet. It was a museum now. With Nightingale gone and the night wind blowing in through the broken studio window, Maine stared at Sarah. The sheriff looked away. Maine's voice shook with barely controlled anger. That boy's doing more drinking than thinking. I hope you know what you're doing, Sarah. He's got a sickness in his eyes. You take my word for it. I didn't want to go outside. Cops had to be looking for me. The noon sun turned the place into a sauna. The day dragged on. Different scenarios ran through my mind. Ways of how I'd torture the kidnapper to get Alice back. Or the different horrible things he could have done to her. I imagined her dead. I had no way of knowing she was still alive. It was killing me. I was running on blind hope. It was all a waste of time. The bastard never showed up.
Wake!
Where the hell are you?
Change of plans. You know where Mirror Peak is? It's a big mountain north of where you are. You follow the path from the mine, you can't miss it. There's a lookout point there. I'll be waiting.
I'm through being jerked around
You
by
want to see your wife alive? Because if you do, you better watch what you say to me. Do we understand each other?
I want to talk to Alice.
Yeah, and I want the manuscript. Don't keep me waiting, Wake.
Hello? Hello! Ah!
I'm gonna kill him.
I had to get to Mirror Peak. It was close, maybe closer than ever before.
Now in this commentary I talk a lot about my own perspective and how I see these things, but it's always important to mention that making video games is very much a team effort. There are a lot of brilliant, talented people working at Remedy and we're working on Alan Wake, and there are a lot of inputs. You know, as a writer, you have a story in mind and you refined it to a certain point, but then you have a lot of people bringing interesting, cool, surprising ideas to the table, and then it's a challenge to kind of pick and choose, take those in, and let them change it for the better.
When Thomas Zane fell for Barbara Jagger, it happened fast. She was young, vibrant, and beautiful, full of life. He had never been a very happy man, and without any... The only way to reach the hillside ahead was to go through the building. I had to find a way to avoid electrocution.